Imagine a world where dragons guard forgotten truths and alien kittens hold the key to healing an entire planet. Buried memories rise, ancient voices return, and one boy stands between the ruins of fear and the hope of unity. This is not just a story. This is the moment the world remembers what it lost. If you are new to the channel, then please subscribe to the channel and like the video and tell us where are you watching from. Now, let's jump into the story. The twin suns of planet Kevin glared down from a cloudless sky. Their scorching heat turned the red ground into a shimmering sea of dust. Wind swirled across the empty plains, lifting fine grains into twisting spirals. It was a silent, forgotten place. Nothing moved. Nothing lived. At least, that's what the old stories claimed. Two small figures stood in the middle of the dry wilderness. They were Felixari's siblings, young, tired, covered in dust and worry. Soren, the older of the two, had stripes in his soft gray fur. His sharp blue eyes scanned the horizon. Beside him, his sister Taya stood on shaky paws. Her fur was darker and tangled. Her small body trembled. Their mother, Rayla, lay injured behind a rock ridge. Her hovercraft had crashed when a violent electric storm swept through the area. The storm had hit without warning. One moment they were flying. The next, they were falling. Metal crumpled. Glass shattered. When the dust settled, Rayla was pinned beneath the wreckage. Her voice weak. Her eyes dull. Her body unmoving. Soren and Taya had tried everything. They tugged at the broken metal. They called for help. They searched for a signal. But nothing worked. Their emergency beacon was dead. Their radio was silent, and the outpost was too far away. As the second sun reached its peak, Soren noticed a shadow moving between crystal spires in the distance. It was large, slow, powerful. His heart skipped a beat. He grabbed Taya's paw. "Stay still," he whispered. From behind the rocks emerged a giant creature. It stood taller than any tree Soren had ever seen. Its skin was thick like stone. Its back covered in rough, jagged scales. Horns curled along the sides of its head. Its wings folded tightly. The creature's golden eyes stared directly at them. A Draknoir. The name came from old stories. Preachers of fire and silence. Legends said they hunted alone and fed on anything that moved. Some said they were the reason no one lived in the plains anymore. Others believed they were a myth. But Soren knew better now. Taya took a step back. "We need to run." "No," Soren said. His voice shook. "We've tried everything else." He took a step forward instead. Slowly, carefully, his small paws raised in front of him. He pressed them together in a quiet plea, a symbol his people used to show respect or surrender. Taya followed his lead, her head low, her ears flat. The Draknoir did not roar. It did not move quickly. Instead, it lowered its head until it was just above the ground. Its golden eyes flickered with something that was not hunger, not rage, something else, something unreadable. For a long moment, no one moved. A sharp moan broke the silence. Rayla. The sound was soft, but it was enough. Both kittens turned toward the ridge, behind them. Taya rushed forward. Soren followed, then stopped. He looked back. The Draknoir still watched. Soren pressed his paws together again and pointed toward the rocks. "Help," he said. The words small and broken in the heat. The Draknoir blinked. Then, with a slow exhale, it moved. Each step shook the ground. Each breath came with the scent of burning minerals and ancient dust. But it followed, Not with speed, not with force, with purpose. Taya scrambled back over the rocks. She reached her mother's side and pressed her tiny head against her fur. Rayla's breathing was shallow. Her body was still trapped beneath the crushed frame of the hovercraft. Then the ground shook once more. The Draknor arrived. It stood above them, casting a long, cool shadow. Soren stepped back, unsure of what would happen next. The creature studied the wreck. Its eyes scanned the metal. The smell of injury and pain hung in the air. With a careful motion, it extended one of its massive clawed limbs. Then, using only 2 sharp fingers, it gripped a twisted section of the hovercraft. Metal groaned, cracked, lifted. The Draknor placed the broken piece gently to the side. Not thrown, not crushed, placed. It moved again, slower this time, more gentle, more deliberate. One by one, it removed the debris from around Rayla's body. When it was done, it stepped back. Rayla opened her eyes. For a moment, fear lit her face. Her fur flickered with warning signals. Then she saw her children, saw their tiny paws reaching for her, felt the sun on her skin and the air in her lungs. Her body ached, but she was alive. Soren turned again toward the Draknor. He rose on his hind legs and pressed his paws together once more. Not in plea this time, but in thanks. Taya lowered her head and bowed, silent, grateful. The Draknor stood still, its eyes unreadable. It let out one final exhale and turned. It walked away, disappearing behind the same crystals from which it had come. In the air, something invisible lingered. A feeling, a message unspoken. Soren looked at Taya. "Did that just happen?" he asked. Taya nodded. "It helped us." They looked at their mother, still weak, still injured, but safe, alive. And somewhere deep in the dust-covered land, a memory stirred. Something old had been touched, something lost had been seen. The story was only beginning. The night air on planet Kivon was cooler than the day. The heat faded as the twin suns slipped behind the jagged cliffs. Stars blinked into view across the sky. The land, quiet and still, held its breath. Taya sat close to her mother, who rested beneath a large crystal formation. Soren stood nearby, watching the shadows stretch across the desert. The wreckage of their hovercraft still sat in silence, broken, useless. But beside it lay a truth they could not ignore. The Draknor had helped them. Not out of hunger, not with violence. With Rayla, though weak, was recovering. Her wounds had been cleaned with mineral water found in a nearby cavern. Her leg remained injured, but her spirit had returned. She had seen what her children had seen. A creature of legend that chose mercy over fear. Taya looked up at the stars. "Do you think it will come back?" she asked. "I don't know," Soren said, "but it wasn't the only one." Earlier that day, as the suns were setting, they had seen movement again. More shadows between the crystals. Not just one, 3, tall, quiet, moving with purpose. They did not come closer, but they watched. Soren had not told Taya everything. He had felt something when the first Draknor looked at him. Not words, not sound, a kind of feeling, like a memory trying to surface, like something old reaching out. He hadn't imagined it. Later that night, the feeling returned. The ground shimmered faintly near the edge of the crystal field. A soft glow rose from between the rocks. Taya and Soren moved closer. What they saw made them stop. An elder Draknor stood still, its wings folded, its eyes bright with silver light. Beside it stood a smaller one, thinner, younger. Its body moved with grace. It carried a crystal in its claw. The crystal pulsed with light. The elder lowered its head. No sound came from its mouth. But Soren heard a voice, not in his ears, in his mind. You remembered. The words were soft, slow, ancient. Soren stepped forward, unsure. Remembered what? The elder blinked. The smaller Dragnoir placed the crystal on the ground. It lit the area with a pale blue light. Symbols flickered across its surface, moving, shifting. Rayla, weak but curious, moved closer with Tea's help. Her eyes widened. Those are Felixari symbols, she whispered, but older than anything I've seen. The elder Dragnoir's voice returned in Soren's mind. Long ago, your kind and mine walked together. Tea's breath caught. But we were told you were monsters, she said. Stories change, the voice. Truth is buried. The younger Dracnor, a healer named Anara, stepped forward. She touched the crystal again. It projected an image into the air. It showed Felixari and Dracnor together, not fighting, not fleeing, standing side by side in shared cities, working together, living in peace. Soren looked at his mother. Is this real? Rayla stared at the image. I think it is. The elder continued. When the storms came and the sky broke, your kind left. Only fear remained. And from fear came silence. Anara moved toward Rayla. She carried another crystal. This one glowed with warm orange light. She placed it near Rayla's injured leg. The light pulsed gently. Rayla winced, then relaxed. Healing crystal, the elder said, from before the forgetting. Tea touched the crystal that showed the images. Her paw trembled. The scenes shifted again, now showing a great rift, a city burning, creatures fleeing, ships launching into the sky. The Dracnor did not follow. They stayed behind. You stayed, Tea whispered. The elder nodded. We remembered, waited, watched. The stars above turned slowly. The desert cooled. Silence fell once more. The next morning, a Felixari scout arrived. His name was Loren. He wore the uniform of the Outer Rim Defense. His face showed surprise and confusion when he saw the children safe, and even more when he saw the Dracnoir standing beside them. Rayla explained everything, her voice calm, measured. She told Loren how the Dracnoir had saved her, how they had brought healing crystals, how they had shared images of the past. Loren was unsure. He recorded her words, took pictures, then sent a message back to the outpost. They'll send someone, he said. A historian, maybe. Someone who can confirm what you saw. Soren looked at the elder Dracnoir. Will you stay? He asked. We will watch, the voice said, as we always have. That night, as the wind whispered through the plains, Tea felt something different in the air. A shift. Small, but real. For generations, her people feared the desert, feared the creatures within it. But now, in the shadows of crystal spires, they had found truth. The truth had not roared. It had whispered, and they had listened. The sun rose over the crystal plains of Kivan with a soft glow. Light filtered through the sharp towers of mineral and stone. It cast long shadows over the land. The silence felt different now. It was no longer empty. It was filled with memory. Soren stood near the edge of a dry ridge. Below him, the remains of their broken hovercraft still lay scattered. Beside it, his mother rested, her leg wrapped in soft cloth and crystal thread. Tea was curled up nearby, sleeping peacefully for the first time in days. He looked toward the horizon, where the Draknor had vanished the night before. The truth they had shared still echoed in his mind. Long ago, their people and the Draknor had lived in harmony. They had built cities together, shared knowledge, healed the land. But something shattered that peace. The skies had broken, fear had spread, and the truth had been buried. Now it had returned. Behind him, a quiet hum broke the silence. The scout, Lauren, was speaking to someone on his communicator. He had stayed the night to watch and listen. What he had witnessed changed his understanding. He had never believed in the old legends, but the sight of the Draknor had made him pause. "They're sending a ship," Lauren said as he walked toward Soren. "Not soldiers, scholars. They want to see this for themselves." Soren nodded. "They should." As the day warmed, a soft vibration touched the air. Not a storm, not a quake, something older. From the cliffs emerged another group of Draknor. They moved like the wind, silent, sure. Among them walked the Elder and Anara. Their presence brought a calm with it. Even the air seemed to slow down. Anara approached Rayla and Taya. She placed a healing crystal near them again. Its glow was stronger now, its light steady. The Elder stood in the center of the clearing. He looked toward Lauren. "You carry memory," the voice said in his mind, "but not truth." Lauren stepped forward, unsure. "We were taught to fear you, to avoid these lands. The archives say you're dangerous." "The archives forgot," the Elder replied. "Not all memory is truth, but all truth leaves echoes." Anara placed a crystal at the center of the group. It rose slowly into the air. Light shot from its core. A wide beam formed a ring of images, moving shapes, glowing maps, scenes of unity. Soren watched the projection. He saw Felixari leaders standing beside Draknor, engineers and healers, children and elders, laughter, flight, peace. Then came the rift. The skies cracked. Strange ships entered the atmosphere. Not from Kivan, from beyond. The alliance broke. The Draknor fought to protect the cities. The Felixari ran, not out of cowardice, out of fear. The foreign ships vanished. The storms came, and then silence. Lauren stared at the image. "We left you." "You forgot us," the Elder said. Taya looked up. "But now we remember." The light dimmed. The crystal returned to the ground. "Memory returns with those who choose to listen," Anara said gently. Rayla struggled to her feet. Pain still lingered in her leg, but her voice was strong. "We must share this. We must correct the record." Lauren nodded. "I'll tell them. The council, the historians, everyone." Soren stepped beside the Elder. "Will they believe us?" "Some will," the Elder replied. "Some must see with their own eyes. Truth is often feared before it is trusted." As the sun climbed higher, a hum echoed across the sky. A ship approached, sleek, silver, marked with the seal of the Kivan Council. It landed carefully on a flat stretch of ground. The dust stirred, but did not rise far. From the ship came 3 figures. 2 wore long coats and visors. The third was a historian named Elira. Her eyes scanned the crystals. Then, the Draknor. She said nothing at first. The Elder stepped forward. His wings remained folded. His eyes calm. "You hold the stories," he said, "but not the truth." Elira blinked. Her visor lit with data, then dimmed. "Then show me," she said. The crystal rose once more. The images played again. This time with more detail, sound, color, emotion. Elira stood still. Her eyes did not leave the projection. When it ended, she looked at Rayla. "This changes everything," she whispered. Rayla nodded. "Yes, it does." That night, as fires glowed softly and stars returned to the sky, Soren sat with Taya near the base of the largest crystal. "Do you think they'll keep the peace?" Taya asked. "I think some will try," Soren answered, "and some will fight it." "But the truth is out," she said. "Yes," he replied, "and truth echoes louder than fear." From the cliffs, the Draknor watched in silence. They had waited for generations. Now the world was waking. The shadows were fading. And in the light, the truth had finally been heard. The wind over the plains of Kevin had changed. It no longer whispered warnings. It carried something new. It carried hope. Weeks had passed since the day the truth returned. The crystal recordings had been studied, verified, shared across the Felixari colonies. Disbelief turned to curiosity, then to understanding. The story of the Draknor, long buried beneath fear, now echoed through schools, councils, and homes. In the heart of the old desert, where the first contact was made, a new structure began to rise. It was not a fortress, not a lab. It was a sanctuary, built with Felixari hands, guided by Draknor memory. They called it the Hall of Remembrance. Soren stood at its edge. He watched as builders shaped crystal and stone into curved walls and high towers. The design followed the ancient patterns shown in the recordings. Every line held purpose. Every piece carried history. His sister Taya played nearby. Her laughter mixed with the sound of hammers and tools. She had grown since their arrival. Her steps were stronger, her voice more certain. She no longer feared the dark, or the creatures that lived in it. Rayla, their mother, worked with the healers. Her legs still ached, but the crystals continued to help. She now taught others how to use them, how to listen to them. She no longer saw the Draknor as myths. She saw them as partners. The elder Draknor, who had first come to their rescue, remained close. He spoke less now, not because he lacked words, because he no longer needed to convince anyone of the truth. They had listened, they had believed, and belief had power. A gathering was called. Leaders from different colonies arrived. Scientists, elders, children. They sat beneath the glowing towers of the hall. The Draknor stood among them, tall, silent, watchful. Alira, the historian who had seen the first vision, stepped forward. She held a small crystal in her hand. It pulsed with soft blue light. "This," she said, "is not just memory. It is proof. It is healing." She placed the crystal on a pedestal. It rose into the air. Images formed above them, not just of the past, of the future. They saw cities built together, Felixari and Draknor working side by side, deserts blooming, skies clearing. The planet healed not through force, but through unity. A murmur moved through the crowd, then silence, then a single voice. "What must we do?" asked one of the council elders. The elder Draknor stepped forward. His wings opened wide. "Remember," he said, "and do not forget again." The words struck deep. For too long, the Felixari had buried their past, rewritten stories, silenced the voices of the ones who remained. Now those voices spoke again, and this time they were heard. Projects began across the colonies. Old texts were restored. Forgotten songs were sung. Bridges were built where walls once stood. Children learned the real history, not the edited one. But healing was not only for the world. It was also for the people. Soren sat with Anara, the young Draknoi healer. She showed him how to use the memory crystals, how to hear the emotions inside them. Not just pictures, not just sounds, feelings, intentions. Every crystal remembers, she said. Even the land remembers. He placed his paw on the ground, closed his eyes. He felt warmth. He felt sorrow. He felt forgiveness. Taya ran to him with news. "Another ship is coming," she said. "They want to join the sanctuary." Soren smiled. "Then we welcome them." As the sun set that evening, the sky turned orange and violet. Stars began to appear. Fires were lit around the sanctuary. Food was shared. Stories were told, not just of survival, not just of pain. Stories of peace. Stories of healing. Rayla stood beside her children, her eyes moist, her voice calm. "We thought the past was lost," she said, "but it waited for us, and it saved us." The elder Draknoir looked toward the stars. "The sky once burned with fear," he said. "Now it shines with memory." As night fell, a soft sound rose from the crystal towers. A hum, not loud, not sharp, gentle, steady, alive. The memory of two trembling alien kittens. The memory of a dragon who chose kindness. The memory of truth, long buried, finally spoken. The memory that healed a world.